Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nihal. Let's discuss another very important Web API interview question. What is content negotiation in Web API? Content negotiation is the process of selecting the best response format for the client based on the request header. In simple words, the client tells the server which response format it can understand, and the Web API returns the response in the most appropriate format. The response can be in a different formats such as JSON, XML, plain text, CSV, or any other custom format. Nowadays, most web API and mobile application prefer JSON because it is lightweight and easy to process. However, some legacy application may still require XML. That's why content negotiation allow the same API to support multiple responses format without changing the business logic. In ASP.NET API, JSON is the default response format, but XML and other format can also be supported by adding the appropriate formatters. Now let's understand how content negotiation work using this diagram. Uh, in step 1, client sends a request. The process start when the client sends an HTTP request to the web API. Along with the request, the client include an accept header. The accept header tells the server which response format the client prefers. For example, accept colon application slash JSON for the JSON response and application slash XML for the XML response. This is the first step in content negotiation. In step 2, API read the accept header. After receiving the request, Web API read the accept header. It identify all the format that the client is capable of accepting. For example, if client request contain application slash JSON, the API understand the client want the response in JSON format. In step 3, API find the best matching formatter. The API check the available formatter configured in the application. These formatter are responsible for converting object into the different format. For example, if JSON formatter is available, the API select it. If XML format is available and requested, the API select the XML formatter. If multiple formatters are supported, the API choose the best matching one. In step 4, object is serialized. Once the formatter is selected, the response object is converted into the requested format. This process is called serialization. For example, an employee object is converted into the JSON, XML, plain text, and CSV format. Depends on the selected formatter. In step 5, response is returned. Finally, API send the response back to the client. The response also contains the appropriate content type header. For example, if JSON is written, content type will be mentioned as application slash JSON. If XML is written, the content type will mention as a application slash XML. This tells the client how to interpret the response. Different requests produce a different responses. Now let's look at the example shown in a diagram. In scenario 1, client request a JSON. The client send accept colon application slash JSON. The server returns application JSON. You can see the response in the JSON format. In scenario 2, if suppose client request for the XML, client needs to be mentioned application slash XML and server respond with content type colon application slash XML, and in response we will get the data in a XML format. Only the response format changes. We have like client request in plain text. For that we need to send accept colon text slash plain. The API returns a plain text response like that we have for the CSV. For that we need to send text slash CSV, then API return the CSV data. And we have scenario file unsupported format. Suppose the client requests a format that the server does not support. For example, accept colon application slash PDF, but the API support only JSON and XML. In that case, the server return 406 not acceptable. This means the requested representation is not available. Now let's see the example here. Now look at the sample control shown in a diagram. Here you can see we are returning OK employee. Notice that the code does not explicitly return JSON or XML. It only returns an object. The content negotiation automatically decide the response format based on the client accepted. This is one of the biggest advantage of content negotiation. Now let's discuss about the benefit of content negotiation. Content negotiation offers several advantages. It supports multiple client types, allow one API to return different format. It follows the HTTP standard, makes API flexible, help integration with legacy system, improve maintainability and reusability. Because of this benefit, almost every enterprise web API use content negotiation. Now let's discuss about some interview tips. Most common interview question is what is the default response format in ASP.NET Core Web API? The answer is JSON is the default response format. Another common interview question is which request header is used for the content negotiation? The answer is the accept header is used to specify the response format expected by the client. Another most commonly used interview question is what happen if the request format is not supported. The server return HTTP 406 not acceptable if no suitable format is available. That's all for this video. If you found this explanation helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in next web API interview question. Thank you.